few years ago, I made this wooden walkway from scrap wood that joins my driveway to the front lawn. It stood the test of time and even became a viral sensation online. However, now that the top boards are starting to show some weather, it's time for a refresh. After removing a few boards, I now know what I need to do. These boards that were sitting on the soil are actually still in good condition, so I'm going to leave those. I'm just going to replace the top ones. But being that these are in good condition means they were protecting these top boards. These just rotted because I didn't protect them, so I'll do that this time. Since the original support boards became unlevel over time, I removed them from the space to start fresh again. To create a brand new pathway, you'd select your area first, then remove any plants in the way, then rework the soil so it's flat and level. I used a cultivator tool to roll over the compacted soil until it was fluffy. Then a metal rake helped to smooth things out with a final swipe with the back of the rake to make it as level as possible. 2 treated boards, cut to the length of my desired walkway, were positioned back on the soil, then reworked a little to make them both level to each other. After rummaging through my scrap wood pile, I chose one type of board I knew I'd have just enough of for the new pathway. If using more than one type of board, I'd suggest to make sure they are the same thickness so the pathway can remain as level as possible. Using one of the old planks as a measuring device, I marked the new board to that length, then cut it with a miter saw, which was then used to draw guidelines on all the other boards and batch cut all of them with the miter saw. The freshly cut boards were then placed across the 2 planks on the ground. The ground planks will serve to take on most of the moisture from the soil, while the top planks will be better protected since they are elevated. This is the secret to longevity of this build. My goodness, what a difference. I hadn't realized the originals had deteriorated this much. But it happens with age, so on to the new. I want to also watch the position of these boards in conjunction to the top planks, because if they're too far on one side, it might make the whole path a little tipsy. But this is a long path and it's going to be quite heavy when it's all attached, so it'll be fine. To create the curve, I tightened up the spacing inside the curve while leaving more of a gap on the outer side. Then it was time to assemble. Each plank was screwed into the baseboards with 1 screw on each side. And the final test is to walk on it. Oh, it feels as solid as a rock. Fabulous. The walkway then got a light sanding while still leaving plenty of texture so the boards were more slip resistant. Then after a good sweep, I painted on some weather protectant called Olympic Water Guard in Natural. I like this product because it doesn't leave a yellow tinge to the wood. It's also best to protect the boards at least once a year for longevity. Now it was time to clean up the surroundings. I couldn't have a beautiful new walkway with spent flowers and weeds right next to it after all. So I reworked the soil and did some deadheading until everything was nicely cleaned up. And the end result is a beautiful, sturdy new walkway that looks like $1,000,000 while costing actually nothing to make at all. The walkway makes the perfect entry from the driveway through to the front yard. It never ceases to amaze me how a simple DIY like this can transform a space in just a matter of hours. Now let's go use it for what it's meant for, picking flowers. This little pathway and portal makes me feel like I have my own secret garden. You'll want to start saving those party-sized takeout containers when you see how easily they can help enhance your garden. I'm gathering 2 larger and 2 smaller party trays, then removing the lids. The trays are being dry fit on the ground of a small container vegetable garden where I think they will be perfect. I'm pouring a little olive oil into each pan, then spreading it around using some paper until the bottoms and a little along the sides are well coated. Reaching for some bagged concrete that dries overnight, I'm shoveling some into a 5-gallon bucket, then mixing it with water until I reach a thick pudding consistency. You'll want to be sure to wear eye, mouth, and hand protection for this step. You'll also want to be diligent to rinse the concrete off the tools in between using them so the concrete doesn't harden on them. I'm now adding some mixed concrete into the smaller trays, filling them up until they are full, then leveling the concrete with a small trowel. Next up, I'm mixing a larger batch of concrete to add to the larger trays, filling them up at least 2 to 3 inches thick, then troweling them smooth as well. In hindsight, I think a slightly wetter mix leaves you with a smoother finish when they are done. I am leaving the trays outdoors overnight to cure. The next day, the concrete looks really dry, so I'm testing a form by pulling away the sides to check. It looks good. I'm now removing all the trays by gently pulling on the sides of each tray, then flipping each concrete slab on top of my hand while gently setting them down onto some cardboard to protect them. I'm now brushing off any loose concrete that may be remaining while admiring all those impressive edge details. I also noticed that none of the trays cracked during removal, which means they are reusable if you wish to make more to match. Now each concrete stone is being positioned in the vegetable garden, then shuffled around until I decide exactly where I want each one to go. Once positioned, I'm placing a carpenter's level on top of each stone, then leveling them by scooping some soil underneath. And I am now the proud owner of a custom stepping stone garden path I can use to navigate right through my vegetable garden without stepping on any soil. More times than not, I'm generally barefoot when I check in on the garden, so this will come in handy keeping my feet much cleaner. However, it also keeps shoes cleaner too, especially when it happens to be raining. The stones are positioned perfectly and comfortably, so I don't have to make an effort to reach each one. I think the shapes make the garden look even more quaint and unique, so much more than simple round or square that you buy at stores. I hope this inspires you to consider collecting a few party trays, to try making a few of your own stepping stones, since they are so easy to make. We are collecting branches from a generous neighbor who just pruned some oak trees during fall. Once the leaves started to drop, I pulled the remaining leaves off all the branches until they were completely bare. Moving to the front door, I am placing 2 old metal buckets on each side of the entry area. I'm now grabbing the largest of the branches and positioning them into the buckets, then using smaller branches as fillers tucked in around them. Grabbing some florist's wire, I'm winding the wire around the bulk of the branches to secure them together. Moving the branches close to the wooden door frame, I'm using an electric stapler to attach the wire to the woodwork to secure the branches in one spot. As I'm working, I'm pruning off any branches that will hinder the door from swinging or people walking around it. I'm now choosing 2 of the longest branches to create a slight curve on top when combined and long enough to reach both front door lights. They are being wrapped with wire to secure them together. After making a few branch trims, I'm carrying the tied branches to position them over top of each light. After adding a few more branch fillers, I'm wiring them to any other secure branches within reach. After a quick pruning, I'm now untangling some white stringed outdoor mini lights. My intention had been to use lights with green strings. However, since I didn't have enough, I have a plan to make this look even better than my original idea. Grabbing some faux snow spray, I'm spraying the branches so they look like fresh blown snow all over them, which also chimes in beautifully with the white stringed lights. If you'd like a more permanent option, you can also paint the branches with white spray paint before they are mounted. To better secure the branches over the door area, I screwed 2 boards together, then mounted them in the middle of the door. And the result is a whimsical front door winter scene that resembles stepping into Narnia. Wow, what an effect during the day and at night. The white stringed lights look positively charming, draped on the white snowy branches, mimicking sparkling snow. I hope this inspires you to save some pruned branches to create a light-up winter tree arch of your own.